You're watching Talkin Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Talkin Ducks is presented by Pacific Clear Vision Institute and Les Schwab Tire Centers. Welcome into another edition of Talkin Ducks. The spring game is just around the corner. We'll give you our thoughts and biggest things we're looking forward to. Also, Matt Preem will join us. We'll talk more about how the NIL is changing the landscape of college athletics. And then Devon Allen will catch up with the Oregon great and find out what his schedule looks like as he tries to juggle both track and football, signing with the Philadelphia Eagles recently. And then obviously some sound from some of the coaching staff. We take a closer look at the running back position. But time now for our opening drive, brought to you by Les Schwab Tire Centers, where they've been doing the right thing since 1952. And with that, we welcome in the entire crew. And Aaron, let's get started with you. You got the spring game, all this hype over the past month. What are you most looking forward to seeing come Saturday as Oregon gets set to cap off their spring?
You know, when I first started covering Oregon back in 2004, so the first spring I covered was 2005, I was all giddy. In 2006, I was a little giddy. And then after that, it was just like, oh my God, spring football again, the spring game. The spring game bugs me because you can't touch the quarterback, and so it never really feels like real football. But there are some things you can get out of it, and most namely, when you're dealing with young quarterbacks, you want to see something from them in the spring game that shows growth and maturity, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm looking forward to seeing the quarterbacks. I know Joey's probably going to say the same thing. Other than that, it's really tough to tell what's going on defense because, again, they can't do certain things. They're not going to go all out and do a bunch of twists and blitz and stunts and stuff like that on their own quarterbacks and try to smash them because they can't touch them anyway. Coverages, sometimes they're not, I wouldn't say dumbed down, but they're not necessarily wildly sophisticated because they're just trying to get to look at guys, especially young guys with this team, in terms of their technique and just basic understanding of things. So it's just hard for me to ever get much out of a spring game other than seeing what a quarterback has, like we saw with Mariota in the spring of 2012 when it was like, oh yeah, this guy's legit because he had been held behind closed doors the entire season because that was the year, the 2011 season was the year Chip closed practices. So for me, I'm looking at the quarterbacks. I know it's cliche, but that's to me is the most interesting thing going on this weekend.
Fentress, you're not the only one who's hated spring football. And I know that I think I can, with 99% certainty, say that Anthony's on board with this too. Because the number one thing that I'm always looking for out of spring practice, spring game is health. Just don't be stupid. Make sure you come out of spring ball with a little experience, but with all your body parts intact. So that's number one, right? Don't be trying to undercut your teammate or take their knees out just because it's a game and you're trying to prove something. I've said it this whole spring, not that the other positions aren't important, but they will develop, right? If you're going to kind of maybe pick one that is non-quarterback as the wide receivers, see if someone takes the lead. Like I said a few weeks ago, I had a moment with Dante Thornton watching him in just kind of some garbage time of a game this last season where I thought, oh man, that guy's going to be good. So maybe if there's one thing I'm looking for, it's to see if there's a wide receiver that kind of jumps to the forefront. But I mean, really, as we've seen on both sides, whether it's an incredible quarterback like Marcus, whether it's finding somebody to fill a gap like they did last year, so much of your success during a season is based on quarterback play. And this season is no different. You know, I think everybody out there is wondering, especially with kind of the way they've platooned, and maybe you can speak to this a little bit more, Aaron, from the media side. You know, when the media was in, it seemed like Ty Thompson got the first reps. When the media was out, it kind of seemed like Bo Nix got the first reps. Like, who's going to be the one? Who's going to be the guy who takes this thing? So, I don't know. I'm trying to find something else other than quarterbacks. But I mean, it's, I'll say wide receivers. I want to see Dante Thornton. I want to see him go up and make like a OBJ, like one-handed catch in the end zone. And then we can say, yeah, now that position's taken care of.
Newman, real quick, there were so many times when I covered the spring game and someone did something spectacular in the spring game and you never heard from him in the fall. Like it's just one day. It's just one practice. You just happen to be doing it in front of everybody and you got uniforms on. It's not necessarily more special than the rest of the opportunities guys had to impress coaches. But go ahead, Anthony.
Well, I agree with both of you guys. Yeah, you included, Aaron. When I go to the spring game and watch the spring game, I'm holding my breath. Like Joey said, just don't get hurt and don't take out your starting defensive end or your starting receiver trying to make a catch, just make the tackle. But again, you're trying to compete if you're trying to get a starting spot. I've seen more, some better scrimmages just during practice. When I come up and watch practice in the 5 minutes of a scrimmage, they're getting after it. Spring game depends on how coaches run the spring game. Sometimes it's like what are they doing? Is it a real scrimmage? Or sometimes they're getting after it for a little bit. But, it's just, I don't want to down the spring game. I like the hype. Everybody go and watch the guys play and get after it on the field and get to Autzen Stadium. But as far as watching them play football and getting after it and just head to head, yeah, I want it, but I really don't right now because I want to see that in the fall against another team.
Well, you made a good point. I got to jump. Yeah, I mean, Anthony, that this is one opportunity of what? Is it 15 practices is what they used to have? This is one opportunity, right? And it's an opportunity within a framework that the coach has manufactured for the purpose of doing something, to simulate a game situation, but also to stay healthy, but also to, entice the fans to come out. Those other 14 practices, that's where you see the growth. That's where you can watch and see, oh yeah, this guy's starting to get it. Oh yeah, this guy's starting to understand where he's supposed to be. And it doesn't always, like you said, Aaron, like somebody may make a sack, a big play, and then you never hear of him again because the growth over the course of those 15 practices didn't happen, but rather it just happened to come out on that one day when everybody was watching.
Right. But at the end of the day, it's, for diehard football fans and Duck fans, it gives you something exciting to watch because you get to watch the team, no matter how we downplay what it all means.
True.
Fans can gather at Autzen, reunite, have fun, and it gives you a little bit of fix before the fall.
Great stuff, guys. Stick around. When we come back, we'll hear from Oregon running backs coach Carlos Locklyn. We'll find out more about how he got into coaching and his plan with the trio of backs that he has at his disposal. Talkin' Ducks will return when we come back.
With 9 locations in the Pacific Northwest, Parr's Cabinet Design Center features everything from outdoor cabinets and countertops to sinks and hardware. Thousands of door styles and colors available to order, as well as kitchen and bath cabinets in stock. All available at the Parr Cabinet Design Center.
Sure glad we went to Les Schwab.
I'm glad the baby's still happy.
Well, I'm just glad that along with tires, Les Schwab also does brakes, alignment, and a bunch of other safety services. I mean, if we had gone to a cheap tire store instead, I'd be a doggone wreck.
My thoughts exactly.
Thanks, kiddo.
Give everyone peace of mind on the road. Swing by or book online. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Being able to get LASIK gave me the opportunity to not worry about putting contacts in every day and just kind of made my life a little easier. Pacific Clear Vision Institute was just incredible through my entire experience. The staff was very welcoming. Dr. Embody, he really just kind of laid it out and made me feel comfortable and gave me confidence to know that I was in good hands. I would definitely recommend Pacific Clear Vision Institute for any sort of laser eye surgery.
Welcome to your Capital Toyota.
From the moment you walk through the doors, we're here for you.
Buy, sell, trade.
We got you covered.
It's everything you need in one place.
Great service? Check.
Easy to work with?
Check.
We want you to be happy, and it shows in everything we do.
Because we respect your time.
It's all the quality and convenience in one package.
New or Toyota certified pre-owned.
Our people are your people.
Capital Toyota. It's your way on the Parkway.
Stories tell us that great leaders are anointed at birth, chosen by the hand of fate. But those are just stories.
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back. It's time for our Thing of Beauty, presented by Dr. Lee B. Daniel and Aesthetic Plastic Surgery. Live Beautiful. Here's Oregon running backs coach Carlos Locklyn and how we got into coaching.
No, I was an undrafted free agent with the Giants, got up there, and I had an injury, and I ended up, getting out of football. I played arena football for a while, and I was done with football. And I went in law enforcement. I've been a correctional officer. I've been a police officer, and I did some special detail work for the government. And once I got in doing that, I wanted to give back to the community. And I never look at myself as a college coach. I represent the high school coaches of Memphis, Tennessee. I represent those guys because it's going to be somebody that come after me, so it's important that I succeed. So I got into coaching high school football there in the great city of Memphis. I did that for 8 years, helping building up coaches' programs, running the offense, instilling discipline into their weight room programs. And I got the bright idea that I told my wife, I said, this is what God want me to do. I want to coach football. So I got the bright idea. I walked over to Memphis and literally just started coaching and pouring into young men. So that's why the term everybody, what's the walk-on coach? I literally walked into this profession. I still work my job 12, 14 hours at nighttime, and I showed up at every meeting. I would sleep in my car in the parking lot, show up at every meeting, wasn't late, go home, sleep for a little while. I did that for 2 years. Then Mike Novell made me the director of high school relations. I did that for a year. Then he took me to Florida State as a director of high school relations. Then I got the job at Western Kentucky and stayed there last year for a little while. Then I had the interview here. Dan interviewed me. Kenny didn't have interviewed me. They weren't gonna give me anything. And I didn't want to be given anything. Because I still approach this job every day with a walk-on mentality. Ain't nobody gonna give me nothing. So I don't give my guys anything. I still work like I'm the guy who's showing up at Memphis every day, sleeping in my car, changing the bathroom in hopes of just getting a locker and another shirt. And that's the approach I take every day, and it rolls off on my player. I ain't giving you nothing. You're going to work for everything. They all bring different skill sets. Byron's a great guy in space, catching the ball. Sean Dollars, I'm proud of him. He has gotten better, taking to my coaching because I'm more of a military style type of coach. You know, I don't use profanity with my kids. If you ever come out there, they'll tell you, but I get in them. So I'm proud of him on taking on the discipline aspect of things and realize that I run my room. But I'm so proud of him and his development, how he's gotten better. He can do it all. He can run between tackles, catch the ball, get him in space instead of getting better. Noah Whittington is Noah Whittington. If y'all been out there, you got a chance to see him, hard running kid. He can catch the ball, plays good without the ball. But all three together, we'll have something special with those three.
All right, well, let's go ahead and put things into focus. Brought to you by Pacific Clear Vision Institute, the official eye doctors and eye surgeons of the Oregon Ducks. And guys, here we have it from Coach. Very humble. I had a chance to chat with him prior to spring ball starting, and you just sense the passion and the gratitude, Anthony, that he has for being in this position. I love what he said about his approach to the game and how humble he is about making sure that he is really passing things on to the next generation. But it seems like this is what you're looking for in this type of position, Coach.
This is my type of coach. I mean, it really is. This is wow. I mean, just listening to him talk. When I talk to our kids, who I coach in high school now, I always tell them, don't reach your hand out. There's no handouts. If you want something, go earn it. I'm not going to give you a starting spot. Go earn the starting spot. If you want something, if you want to make the team, go make the team. No one's going to give you anything in life. You have to go earn everything. And he is so true. And then, he's an example how to do it. I mean, he walked off the Memphis coaching staff and go, hey, I want to coach. Like, okay, you can coach. And he can, but you still have to prove it. You got to prove your ability to the coaches and to your teammates. But talk about an inspiration to the young football players that he's coaching. That's the type of coach that you will do anything for. That's the type of coach that you will work extra hard for. And Oregon's lucky to have him.
Carlos has got to go. What's he doing? Talkin Ducks has already determined that Byron Cardwell is the lead running back and the star of the future of this team. Who is he to come into our state? No, I'm just kidding. No, he's doing the right thing. I mean, he knows he inherits a guy in Cardwell who's really talented and good, but he's also bringing in a dude he knows, and then you got dollars as well. So he's not going to come in and just say, okay, I've heard a lot about this guy, or I've seen this guy play up close and personal. I'm going to decide my depth chart. He's going to make these guys work and earn it, because that's how you're going to get the cream to rise to the top. I still believe, undoubtedly that Cardwell is the guy, but there is some other talent on the roster. There's a kid coming in James, who's a 4-star recruit, had offers from Bama, Florida, Georgia, flipped on Georgia. He's going to be really talented and challenged as well. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Cardwell, but he's going to be pushed to be the best he can be because there's other talent on the depth chart, and he's got a no-nonsense coach who's going to make him earn it.
Yeah, and no matter who it is, Aaron, I'm not so, how do I put this? I know that this coach will produce a quality product, right? It's an interesting time at Oregon football, right? In terms of recruiting, right? Who's coming in? Who are these, we're getting the dudes, right? We're getting 4 stars, we're getting 5 stars. But how do you turn those 4 stars and 5 stars high school players into incredible college football players, right? And that's the discussion we have all the time is these guys that come in who think they're hot stuff and, all of a sudden get to college and realize, man, I got to work a little bit. Wait, it's not going to come this easy? This is the type of coach who, like you said, will make the cream rise to the top. This is the type of coach who doesn't take anything for granted. This is the type of coach who doesn't worry about the uniforms and doesn't worry about the Jordans and doesn't worry about the flash and the facilities and says, I don't care who you are. And I don't care what you've done. You all have an opportunity right now to prove to me and to prove to your teammates that you deserve to be here. And if you don't take advantage of that opportunity, then I'm going to find somebody else who will. That is what you need as a coach. That is what you need to build a successful football program. That is what you need to build successful young men. This is the type of coach that if I've got my son going to play somewhere, this is the guy I want. This is the guy I want in that meeting room every single day to put in his ear saying, what have you done today to make yourself better? Have you proven to your teammates that you're willing to put in work? Are you doing the right things? Are you building a foundation? Are you capitalizing on all this opportunity that's being handed to you? That is the type of coach that every single parent should want their son playing for. That right there, do we know that Byron Cardwell is probably going to be the guy? Yeah, probably. Are we going to have good running backs coming out of that backfield? Yeah, we probably are. But I'm more impressed and I'm more excited to see the type of people that he produces. And that's, I had heard about him, but listening to that just short clip, just like that gets your blood going, right? That gets you excited. I'd go to the spring game. I'd go excited to the spring game. That would make me excited to watch a spring game, is just to watch him coach on the sidelines.
All right, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll hear from Big Bad Bennett Williams and why he decided to come back. He'll give his thoughts on this Oregon defense underneath Dan Lanning. Talkin' Ducks returns when we come back.
Eugene Airport is a proud part of what makes Western Oregon such a unique place to be. With nonstop routes that connect to hundreds of destinations, fly local, fly EUG.
In the heart of the South Willamette Valley, just 12 miles southwest of Eugene, distinctive handcrafted wines are waiting for you at Sylvan Ridge Winery. Sylvan Ridge Wines bring unassuming, casual elegance to your homes, tables, and celebrations, and are best paired with the mainstays of a social gathering: good food, fond friends, and lively conversation. Discover our wines by visiting our tasting room. For a list of events or to plan your visit, go to sylvanridge.com. Proud partners of the Oregon Ducks.
Parr Lumber is committed to providing the best customer service. We provide personal service. We're problem solvers. We're positive and courteous. We're competent and professional. We are committed to delivering exceptional service every time. We're appreciative and we care. We are Parr Lumber.
Since 1961, Comfort Flow Heating has provided service to more than 50,000 homes and businesses in the Willamette Valley. While the technology and techniques in our industry have changed, our founding principles have remained the same: to provide exceptional service in all areas of our business and for our customers to enjoy their products from us and be comfortable for years to come.
From all of us at Comfort Flow, thank you for choosing us.
Go Ducks!
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Let's go ahead and hit Victory Road, presented by Capital Toyota in Salem. Your way on the Parkway. Bennett Williams opens up on why he came back and his initial thoughts on this Dan Lanning defense.
I didn't know what to do, and when Coach Lanning got hired, and I saw those guys coming in, I'm like, I felt overall just that it was a better decision to come back. More money to be made. Hopefully, if I have a good season this year, looking ahead to the NFL draft next year. I'm so excited to get to play in it, and just the stuff that we've already put in these 2 weeks of spring ball is so far advanced, so far ahead of anything that I've learned. But that's perfect. Looking at it from a personal level, perfect for me. In that transition to the NFL, and I think we're going to confuse so many offenses this year. Just with the different looks that we give, we're going to play a physical brand of football, but those guys are Coach Lanning and Coach Lapoy are geniuses back there. So.
And Anthony, you really get the sense that this is going to be one of the leaders of the defense, Bennett Williams, and a lot of excitement so far from the defensive players we've heard from about what it's going to look like underneath Lanning and this coaching staff.
Well, it's kind of funny. I had the same situation when I was playing going into my junior year. Denny Schuler became our defensive coordinator, and he changed the defense. And from a personal standpoint, it helped me understand the defense. It allowed me to be a better football player within the defense because I was not just a free safety deep. I was all over the place. I was playing like the new hybrid, which is like Devon Allen. I was like an outside linebacker, and then I was like a middle linebacker, and then I was like a safety. And then the defense was a lot different. And these guys are saying the same thing, that the defense is something that's a little bit more, I don't want to say advanced, but it's a little different. I think they feel like, hey, this is going to help me at the next level. It's a lot of different fronts that they're going to show that's disguising. And then it's just a fast-paced, get after the quarterback, stop the run defense. I know Dan Lanning, they talk about we have to stop the run before we can do anything else. So it's all about stopping the run. Plus, they're going to be aggressive. They know they got some guys that maybe can cover on the outside. I'm excited to watch this defense, and I'm excited to see the kids excel in this defense.
Well, first of all, I'm happy to see Bennett Williams back. I wrote a feature on him and his brother last year before they played each other in the Fresno State game. His brother plays for Fresno State, also plays safety. He was having a fantastic season, 20 tackles, 3 picks, and a touchdown within 5 games, and then he got hurt, lost pretty much for the season. But it's good to see him back. That helps mitigate some of the what you're going to lose by losing McKinley to the NFL. He's a smart guy. He's definitely going to be a leader on this team. And it's interesting to hear him talk about the changes. But as I mentioned early in the season, I've covered many springs, and almost every spring there's talk about all the changes, right? It's all the changes. Oh my God, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we'll see what happens in the fall. That said, Lanning coached one of the most dominant defenses we've seen in recent memory. I mean, they were suffocating. They were just destroying teams on the way to winning a national title. So there's no doubt that Lanning's going to bring in high-end defensive schemes to this team. And based on what everything's saying, it's different than what you were getting last year under the Rooters. So we'll see how that works out. We'll see how the personnel fits. We'll see if they have those guys who can cover. You're going to bring pressure. That all sounds great until what? You can't cover. And Joey knows better than anyone. Joey, when you saw people put 7, 8 guys in the box and you knew they were coming, were you afraid? No, because you knew Sammy Parker was running right by somebody, right? And so it's gotta fit, it's gotta mesh. Everything's fun in the spring. We'll see how it works out in the fall. But I do believe they're definitely gonna be better defensively. I think they're gonna be more attacking defensively. We'll just see how statistically it plays out and leads to victories.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it. You both hit it on the head there, in terms of, again, it's spring. You hear this every year, but there is something different that comes in with Dan Lanning this year, right? There is. Call it pedigree, call it hardware, a national championship trophy, whatever it is, there is something a little bit different. And as opposed to in years past when it was, we hope that something will change, this seems like a conscious effort. You brought in a defensive guy for a reason. You strayed outside of that, blur, explosive, offensive. Oregon's been an offensive school ever since, Bill Musgrave all the way through, Al Borges and Bellotti and Tedford and Chip and now all of a sudden we got a defensive guy. And so I think there is a little bit more expectation. There's a little bit more excitement. And I think for me personally, that if you combine that with the potential health of some of these guys coming back, like you mentioned, we lost a lot of guys at the beginning of the season last year on defense. And the idea of having Bennett Williams and Flo teaming up with Noah Sewell, like there's some pretty cool things that if I hand this to Tosh and to Coach Lanning and say, here you go, make something out of it. I think there's some pieces in there that could be really exciting, really explosive, and I don't know, more creative, but definitely more impactful than we've had in years past. So I am a little bit more excited than Aaron Fentress. I'm a little bit more curious, but I don't have that, that media reporter negativity just all of a sudden.
Oh, it's not negativity, it's objectivity.
All right, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the NIL deals shaking up the conference, including some cheese up in Washington State. And no, we're not talking about Cougar Gold. More on that when we return on Talkin' Ducks.
Sure glad we went to Les Schwab.
I'm glad the baby's still happy.
Well, I'm just glad that along with tires, Les Schwab also does brakes, alignment, and a bunch of other safety services. I mean, if we had gone to a cheap tire store instead, I'd be a doggone wreck.
My thoughts exactly.
Thanks, kiddo.
Give everyone peace of mind on the road. Swing by or book online. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Being able to get LASIK gave me the opportunity to not worry about putting contacts in every day, and just kind of made my life a little easier. Pacific Clear Vision Institute was just incredible through my entire experience. The staff was very welcoming. Dr. Embody, he really just kind of laid it out and made me feel comfortable and gave me confidence to know that I was in good hands. I would definitely recommend Pacific Clear Vision Institute for any sort of laser eye surgery.
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back. Time now to fly around the Pac-12 courtesy of Eugene Airport. Fly easy, fly EUG. And how about Washington State transfer quarterback Cameron Ward repeatedly receiving a $90,000 package from the Cougar Collective, which consisted of an apartment, use of a new car, and $50 grand cash in exchange for promotional appearances he'll make. So guys, it looks like Pandora's box has been ripped open when it comes to the world of college football. You've got Caleb Williams, who apparently signed a 7-figure deal with Beats by Dre down at USC. Is this just the tip of the iceberg, Aaron, as we now look at this new world, this new order in college football?
Man, at Portland State, I got tuition and a Big Mac. So I'm not
they gave you a Big
alarmed by all this. No, listen. Okay. It's going to be mass chaos. It's a free market system. Boosters have huge egos, especially the rich ones, right? They somehow made it rich for whatever reason. They're usually going to be alpha males. They have a lot of money. They've always had success. They have an attachment to a football team, whether they went there to the program or school or not, and they start putting money into it. Well, why are they putting money into it? So they can say they're a part of it. And then if the wins, they can brag about it. Well, if they're not winning, then you're going to put more money into it. And this is why you have cheating in the first place. This is why we've had cheating. We know that Most major programs have cheated at least a little bit, and then some have a lot of it. So now there's no cheating. It's just, you just put together a collective and you can throw money around. You can have USC, have Beats by Dre give Caleb Williams $1 million to play college football. It's not going to stop. It's going to keep going and going and going. And so the problem is not everyone can win. Only one team can win a national championship. Only 4 can go to the playoffs. So that's going to cause other programs to start spending more and more and more and more. Or not programs, sorry, the boosters. Figure out where to spend more and more and more. It's just keep going and going and going. But then something's going to happen. What's going to happen is someone's going to realize, oh, I'm paying Caleb Williams $1 million and we just lost to the Washington State kid who's making $50K. Then things get weird. The other thing too is if I'm playing offensive line for USC, how much am I getting to protect the $1 million boy? And is the $1 million boy walking around acting like a prima donna doofus? Because if he is, he might get slapped. Because he's got $1 million, I got nothing, and I may not slap him myself. I just may not give an absolute 100%. We know this happens in the NFL. So I think it's going to be mass chaos. I hate it. I'm not going to hate the players. I'm going to hate the game. I think it's going to destroy college football as we know it. I think they should at some point pretty soon just say, screw it. Who are we fooling? Let's just create another pro league. That's almost like a minor league, but still have the teams, some of the teams tied to the university for the purposes of logos and the connection, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just going to be ridiculous from here on out.
Yeah, if they don't, and I don't know what they could do at this point, but if they don't do something quickly, it will absolutely just completely spiral out of control. Like college football has changed as we know it. It has officially changed this offseason. Like, this is different than it was even last year, because the idea of the NIL, like owning your own name, image, and likeness, allowed players to be able to go down and, sign a deal with a pizza, with Tracktown Pizza. And it's like, hey, I'll make an appearance and, I can get some gift certificates. No, this is completely different. And I don't know if this is what people expected to happen, if people had hoped this would happen. I don't know that anybody really had a true idea of what this was going to turn into and how it would affect the landscape of college football. Because, Aaron, you bring up so many different great points. How does this affect the relation? When everybody's getting the same $673 scholarship check, that backup right guard is the same as your All-American wide receiver, right? But when Caleb Williams is getting 7 figures and his center isn't getting anything, like where do you draw the line?
The center needs to go to the quarterback and say, "Yo, bro, you got to kick me down 50K."
Is that what happens? Is that what this is going to turn into? Is guys like negotiating these? You get $1 million in your endorsement deal, but you have to give all 5 of your offensive linemen $25,000. Like, there has to be some sort of oversight. And I know that's like the worst possible word, considering what the NCAA was and what it was criticized, how it was criticized for so long, is because they were Big Brother that wouldn't let that had too much oversight. But you're truly just opening this thing up to chaos. It really is. It's going to turn into which booster wants to pay the most. What was it? Texas A&M had 8 dudes come in on the offense or on the defensive line that are all getting paid, 6 figures. I don't know. And maybe we just kind of, maybe it's natural selection, right? Maybe all those guys that get their cash in 1 year, enter the transfer portal and then they're gone, right? And then they go and then it all just kind of redistributes out over college football. I don't know. I don't have a good answer, but I know that as of this offseason, college football has changed. And you either need to accept that and let it go where it goes, or take the mindset that, yes, we've opened a door that we need to kind of close back down a little bit, not completely shut, but just put some parameters on this, acknowledging that it could spiral out of control. But either way, this game has changed.
Well, hey, okay, let me finish. Don't say anything until I finish, okay? We know we live in the land of opportunity. Understand that, correct? And this is America. We can go make our money. So don't be mad at me, Aaron, because I'm making $100,000 and you're not making anything, but you still got to block for me. Hey, do your job. Block for me. You know, dude, you came to Oregon, go ahead and block. No, I'm just kidding, guys. No. This is not a car wreck. This is a car going off the cliff. This is ridiculous. It really is. I mean, so teams or guys are looking for teams that's going to pay them more money compared to where I'm going to a team to win a championship. The whole thing has changed. The narrative has changed. So it's crazy, and I don't know how this thing is going to end. But you know, there's too much money going out there, and you know, I think at the beginning, or someone came up with the concept to help these kids in school a little bit. You know, to help them, you know, get some meals throughout the whole year, not just training table. But it's become just big dollars, you know, big booster, who has more money, and who's going to pay the guy the most money to come to their school. Wow, this is going to be crazy.
Well, that's a good point, Anthony. This door was opened because college athletes were saying, I couldn't afford to go out and get a slice of pizza with my friends.
Well, and it was a violation if someone bought you a pizza.
Exactly, right? But so what was the point of this? There was two things. One, I couldn't afford to eat at the end of the month. That was the narrative, right? And two, the universities are making all this money off of my picture, off of my name, and I should be able to have a piece of that. That was where it started. I'm curious to see, and I don't, and maybe this is just being extremely, maybe Fentress has just worn off on me and I'm becoming extremely pessimistic, is that I'm curious to see who's the first kid who goes out and takes that money and buys a Maserati and then crashes it, right? Who's the first I told you so moment, right? Because that's not what this was meant to be. This was meant to say we need to have some equity. The players need to make a piece off of their name. They need to be able to put food in the fridge. They don't need to have a Maserati and a 7-figure contract at 17 years old, right? Is there, and I'm just kind of speaking off here because, hey, free market economy, I get it. You know, you can bring in what your product sells. But if the point of this was to take care of the student athletes, right? If that was truly the basis, the foundation of this decision was to take care of the student athletes, I don't know that completely just flinging this door wide open is truly taking care of them. I don't know that that's looking out for their long-term success. That's just a thought.
Welcome to your Capital Toyota.
From the moment you walk through the doors, we're here for you.
Buy, sell, trade.
We got you covered.
It's everything you need in one place.
Great service? Check.
Easy to work with?
Check.
We want you to be happy, and it shows in everything we do.
Because we respect your time.
It's all the quality and convenience in one package.
New or Toyota certified pre-owned.
Our people are your people.
Capital Toyota. It's your way on the Parkway.
Eugene Airport is a proud part of what makes Western Oregon such a unique place to be. With nonstop routes that connect to hundreds of destinations, fly local, fly EUG.
In the heart of the South Willamette Valley, just 12 miles southwest of Eugene, distinctive handcrafted wines are waiting for you at Sylvan Ridge Winery. Sylvan Ridge Wines bring unassuming, casual elegance to your homes, tables, and celebrations, and are best paired with the mainstays of a social gathering: good food, fond friends, and lively conversation. Discover our wines by visiting our tasting room. For a list of events or to plan your visit, go to sylvanridge.com. Proud partners of the Oregon Ducks.
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. All right, well, let's get to the hot topic, brought to you by Comfort Flow Heating, the HVAC industry leader in Western Oregon since 1961. And guys, one thing that I love about the Pac-12 is they like to play things by the straight and narrow, by the book. They follow the rules, right? They turn on their blinker before they go right. They hit every stop sign at a complete stop. How do you think this conference, though, is going to be able to keep up in this ever-evolving world of the NIL, where it does still feel like the wild, wild west, and you've got some crazy stuff happening back east, especially in the SEC. Do you think the Pac-12 will be able to keep up with all this?
I think Oregon, USC, UCLA, maybe UW can probably dance a little bit. I've always felt like if anything like this happened, that the power of Nike was going to be able to make Oregon even stronger than it is. But what's going to happen to the other programs who already maybe don't put a lot of resources into football, like Cal, is that, Cal, I think Utah, even Colorado, those programs are going to basically become farm systems for the other schools. Like if I'm Oregon and I need a defensive lineman, and there's a Colorado freshman I didn't get in recruiting because I overlooked him, but look at him, he's a baller. Hey, dude, you want to come to Oregon? We'll give you $150K. Colorado maybe can't come up with that kind of cash to keep him. Boom, you get him in the transfer portal, he's yours. And so it becomes free agency in that realm that only helps the bigger programs get better. I think those 4 programs in the Pac-12 are going to be able to play in that room with the big boys to a certain extent. But overall, no, the Pac-12 is in big trouble.
Well, that's it depends on how you frame the question. Can the conference keep up? Like Aaron said, SC, Oregon, UCLA, UW, big markets. Or Nike, if they're going to carry the torch for the conference, then those 3 or 4 schools can probably keep up. But what you don't have, and we've talked about it before, is that truly rabid fan base from top to bottom for all the schools in the Pac-12, like you do in the South, like at Ole Miss and Mississippi State and at Auburn. And I mean, you know that Alabama's going to be good. You know Georgia's going to be good. You know that LSU is going to be good. But the teams like Arkansas, the teams like Missouri, like those schools from top to bottom will have the donors coming up with cash. And that's going to be, from top to bottom, they will be paying people, whether it's, Oklahoma State in the Big 12 or Arkansas in the SEC, those mid-level programs will be paying their players in a significantly different way than Utah or Washington State, and that will be the difference. Will Oregon and USC be able to keep up with the major players around in this landscape? Sure, but the conference as a whole, not a chance.
That's what's crazy about this whole deal. I mean, you're talking about making a comparison on who has more money, in these conferences. Like, it's Missouri. Okay, we have more money than Washington State. Washington State's only paying $90,000. Missouri, they may be playing maybe, $1.5 million. So it's like, wait, what about playing football? What about the game of football and getting the best players because they want to go to a program that's going to help them succeed in life as a person, as a human being, not just get paid? And again, that's why this whole thing is not just a car accident. It's a car going off a cliff. It really is. It's unbelievable. But right now we got to deal with it.
But hear about this. It reminds me of the difference between MLB and the NFL, right? In Major League Baseball, it's always going to be the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers and the Giants because they have the money to pay. And there's no salary cap. There's no revenue sharing, right? Even in the NFL, every single team has the same amount of money. They can't spend more than this and they can't spend less than this, right? Where we're sitting right now with college football is more of a Major League Baseball model. Whereas if you're, if you're the Steinbrenner family and you want to spend $1 gajillion, then you spend $1 gajillion, right? And nobody's there to stop them or have any sort of oversight, which I've never been a fan of that model. I've always been more of a fan of the NFL model because it breeds competition. Right? I don't know. We are truly going in college football down the line of that Major League Baseball model, which is if you have the money and you want to spend it, Be my guest.
All right, don't go anywhere. Joey's favorite Duck of all time, Devon Allen, will join us. He'll tell us more about his decision to sign with the Eagles and also how he's going to handle both sports this year as he tries to once again be the dual sport threat, this time at the professional level. Plenty more Talkin' Ducks when we come back. You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. It's time for some excellence off the football field, presented by Ferguson Wellman. Ferguson Wellman taking a disciplined approach to investing. Here's our conversation with the one, the only Devon Allen. Well, Devon, my man, it's great to catch up with you. And let's start with this 40-yard dash. So, obviously, you've been busy doing track. You come in, you do the Oregon Pro Day, and you bust out a 4.35.40. Were you happy with that time? Because it seemed like it really turned some heads.
Yeah, I mean, I'm content with it. I think I can run a 4.2 if I just spend a little bit more time practicing. It's much different, especially from using blocks to just doing a 3-point start, and then also way more different than a hurdle start. Just because, in the first 15 yards, you got to be up tall running full speed. So definitely a learning curve, but I think I did okay considering, and I'm happy with it in general. I knew I was going to run fast. It's just how fast I was going to run.
Yeah, some fast guy problems right there. So you signed with the Eagles, and I'm curious, what was their conversation like with you, and did you get any other interest from any other teams as well?
To be honest, yeah, the Eagles reached out pretty quickly after Pro Day, actually about 20 minutes after I left. I spoke to Howie Roseman on the phone. He was interested in signing me and kind of getting an idea of what I was doing in terms of just in general, like track wise, training wise, to get an idea of my availability and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. And obviously you always want to go somewhere where you're wanted. So I felt like the Eagles was a good fit for that. And me and my agent kind of had that conversation as well. I said, hey, there's a few teams interested. They want you to come out and visit this and that, but the Eagles are ready to sign you. And I was like, well, in life, you always want to go with somebody that wants you, whether it be your girlfriend or whatever. So I was super excited that the fact that they reached out and were interested in having me to contribute, and I think I can contribute a lot, to that team, and I believe I can be a game changer and a playmaker and kind of help those guys win as well.
Sage advice, my friend. And so remind everybody about what your calendar is going to look like, because you're down in LA getting ready for the Mount Sac relays. You still have a lot of track to compete in this year, and then you're going to go into training camp, correct?
Correct. So actually, yeah. So I'm competing in Mount Sac this week. I'm flying back to Maryland next week to train. That's where I train at Annapolis at the Naval Academy. I'm going to run in the home meet there next weekend. And then on that Sunday, I'm going to drive up to Philly. First week of OTA starts on the 25th. So I'll spend the week in Philly, the 25th to the 28th for the first week of OTAs. And then April 30th, I'm running in the pin relays in Philly. So
that's crazy, man. That's crazy. I love it.
That's pretty much how it's going to look for a bit. And then into May, a little bit more strenuous OTAs and rookie mini camp and stuff like that will happen. So I'm going to be a part of as much as I physically possibly can, outside of, maybe having to travel to a competition or something like that as well, prepping for USAs and Worlds this year. But yeah, I'm going to be very, very busy for sure.
Now, you still have practice squad eligibility available, so I'm curious, what's the goal? Is it active roster the first year? Do you just want to get onto that practice squad with them so you can continue to learn the system and get reacclimated to football? What have you and your agent talked about?
To be honest, and it's just like my confidence as an athlete. I'm probably the fastest and the most athletic I've been in my life, the strongest I've been. So I feel pretty confident that I can get on that active roster and realistically contribute. Played wide receiver, help the Eagles win football games. I can do a lot of things on special teams as well. That's a big, game changer sometimes. You have a good return, you can swing the field 40, 50 yards and kind of change the game. So I think for sure that's my goal, and I've been working towards that. And I understand there's a lot to learn. Football is football. At the end of the day, I know the schemes are a little bit different. I know the intensity is, going one more level up from college, but it's the same game I played for 20 years. So I'm excited to do it.
Devon, your confidence never ceases to amaze me, and trust me, coming from me, I hope you can pull both off. So best of luck, man. Thanks again for joining us, and can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Jordan, thanks for having me again. Always good talking to you. And hopefully we'll be chatting here in like about 8 to 10 months after a Super Bowl win.
When we come back, we'll go ahead and wrap up this edition of Talkin' Ducks. We'll take a look at Nyara Sabali. It's a high and low week for her. Gets drafted in the top 5, but might miss her entire rookie season. We'll have the news when we come back on Talkin' Ducks.
Since 1961, Comfort Flow Heating has provided service to more than 50,000 homes and businesses in the Willamette Valley. While the technology and techniques in our industry have changed, our founding principles have remained the same: to provide exceptional service in all areas of our business and for our customers to enjoy their products from us and be comfortable for years to come.
From all of us at Comfort Flow, thank you for choosing us.
Go Ducks!
Sure glad we went to Les Schwab.
I'm glad the baby's still happy.
Well, I'm just glad that along with tires, Les Schwab also does brakes, alignment, and a bunch of other safety services. I mean, if we had gone to a cheap tire store instead, I'd be a doggone wreck.
My thoughts exactly.
Thanks, kiddo.
Give everyone peace of mind on the road. Swing by or book online. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Sometimes leadership is scary. But so is regret.
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Time now for our Toast of the Week, brought to you by Sylvan Ridge Winery, proud partners of the Oregon Ducks.
With the 5th pick in the 2022 WNBA draft, the New York Liberty select Niara Sabally, University of Oregon.
So there you have it, Niara Sabally being selected 5th overall in the WNBA draft. She's headed to New York to join her former Oregon teammate Sabrina Ionescu. In fact, Sabally becomes the 3rd Oregon Duck to be drafted in the top 5 over the past 4 seasons, joining her sister Satu Sabally, who went number 2 behind Sabrina Ionescu not too long ago. Now, the bad thing, though, is for Niara, she will miss most likely her entire rookie season, still rehabbing that knee injury she suffered throughout the year. She finished the season, but they want to be very careful with her in New York. They don't want her to aggravate that knee any further by playing on it this season. And you heard the Liberty say earlier, we expected this. This was no surprise. We anticipated the fact that we would draft her and then have to rest that knee throughout the entire season. So Sabally, our best for you. We hope you can certainly get the job done and rest up quickly. Don't miss us next week, though. When we get set next week, it'll be our final edition of Talkin' Ducks for this season, our very first season. We'll go ahead and wrap up the spring game and give you some of our thoughts, our way too early thoughts on the upcoming college football season. From all of us here, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talkin' Ducks.